Hey church, Pastor Blake here. Thank you for joining us this evening for our weekly devotionals. If you haven't seen our previous devotionals, you can find those on our YouTube channel. You could subscribe to that and you'll get notifications every time we upload new videos and new content. So don't forget to do that. These devotionals are designed to encourage us all during these hard times that we're living in right now, where we're all separated, where as the church is very difficult to continue on without congregating weekly. So just make sure we follow up on these videos, comment. We want to hear from you. We want to react with you. So I hope you just are blessed by these during this time. I don't know about you, but for me, this time has kind of been a little bit frustrating. It's kind of been a little bit difficult and kind of lonely, just being stuck in your house, not being able to do much during this time. I know we have our families and that helps and it's a blessing, but still it's not the same as having your day-to-day lives. And so as I was reading this passage, I came across these verses and they really encouraged me, and I hope they do the same for you. So we're going to be reading 2 Corinthians chapter 1, 9 through 11. 2 Corinthians chapter 1, 9 through 11 says this: "Indeed, we felt we had received the sentence of death, but this happened that we might not rely on ourselves, but on God, who raises the dead. He has delivered us from such a deadly peril, and he will deliver us again. On him we have set our hope that he will continue to deliver us, as you help us by your prayers. Then many will give thanks on your behalf for the gracious favor granted us in answer to the prayers of many." So knowing the life of Paul, knowing a little context of these verses, we know that Paul's trials that he's referring to here were a little bit different than what we're going through today. He's referring to intense persecution that him and his team were going through on their missionary journeys. And it's very different from the hardships that we are going through today. It's very, very different. But as I was reading this verse, I couldn't help but feel a sense of hope that restored my soul. This entire world is under tremendous pressure right now, and it's so easy to fall into stress and anxiety. Some people fall into anger, fear. But Paul's message in these verses tells us that through these trials, God has a purpose. And that is so that we would stop relying on ourselves for strength and instead rely on him who gives us strength. Because whenever we rely on ourselves, I don't know if this has happened to you, but I begin to feel overwhelmed. Whenever I try to do things on my own strength and I try to just muscle through things, I begin to feel overwhelmed and more stressed with the size of the problem. And many times our problems can be bigger than we can handle, but they are never bigger than our God. And that's what I love about these verses. It just reminds us that God is so great, God is so big. And Paul continues reminding us to look into our past and remember how God has delivered us before from trials and difficulties, how God has helped us through difficult times. And when we look back and we remember these things, it helps us to continue on and have a hope for the future. Just remembering how even through the impossible, God moved and God helped and God guided. How he provided a paycheck when you thought you weren't able to put food on the table. How he protected you from harm. How he gave you the strength to continue forward when you thought you had no more strength left in you. God has not changed. He continues to be with you, to help you, and to strengthen you even during this time. And we see here Paul says this is our hope. This is what we look forward to. That we don't have to be anxious. We don't have to be stressed. We don't have to be angry at what's going on in the world. That we can have a hope in God because he is faithful. He is powerful. He is great. And when I was reading these verses, this brought peace to my soul, because so often we see in the news, we see all the negative, we see all the things that bring just a burden onto our soul. But when I read this verse, it brought life into my soul. It brought me hope once again to know that, yeah, times are hard, times are difficult. It's not fun being stuck in your house all day. It's not fun not being able to work or feeling like you can't provide for your family. But it's not in our own strength that these things can be done. It's through God and his strength. So don't be discouraged, church. Our God is so great. He's so faithful. He's the God who saves and delivers and provides for us. And you are his beloved child. So I just hope you're encouraged with this message. You are loved. We are praying for you. We encourage you just to stay connected with the body, stay connected with the church as we're going through this time. God bless.